seminar on the socio-economic drivers of violence today focused specifically on inequality. We decided as an organization working in communities, working with victims of torture and violence, that the issues of economics, the issues of access to income and livelihood options are pertinent to the realization of the healing of our communities and our society as a whole. Based on this, we invited into the space journalists, academic lecturers, and also CSVR staff who'd been working in this area, for them to help us understand what are the drivers of violence in South Africa as they relate to inequality. And what emerged really was that the issue of inequality is incredibly complex, that the drivers of violence in society as related to inequality can be issues such as hunger, social exclusion, and I think even basic things like access to government and the visibility of privilege in the context of such great need. And we've decided as a collective to take this forward by exploring what we as an organization need to do in an interdisciplinary way that focuses not just on investigation and bringing out the voices of the victims of social exclusion, but also interventions in society that don't pathologize poorer communities.
I think when we speak about inequality, it is important to try and show as much of the spectrum as possible. What I attempted to do in this documentary about the food apartheid was to try and understand how does not dealing with malnutrition today further exacerbate the foundation of inequality created by apartheid. And I think that can't be done in isolation by just highlighting poverty, but how do we show what apartheid created and how it has impacted inequality today between the haves and the have-nots. And we had some great discussions today around how do we not just show victims of poverty, but also show who is benefiting off the backs of this poverty. Not engaging with topics of inequality because it's difficult is worse than kind of working through our own positionality and trying to understand how to use our privilege or our platforms to speak about pressing issues in South African society today.
What was missing in the analysis, I think we would have included more qualitative research that we're involved with to understand men and women and how hunger influences their daily lives. Our study was designed simply to understand how violence occurs and why men use it. Future studies might actually want to look at inequality as an important predictor of that. One little way we're able to look at that is we're measuring something called male gender role strain. And so when men feel like they're not able to live up to being a man, and I think that will be interesting to see if that has something to do with use of violence, because that could point a little bit to some markers of social inequality.